Soon, it's election year in Israel. In less than 12 months, Israelis will have to make the most important decision in their lifetime. Since I'm an Israeli, some people have been asking me, do you think Israelis will elect Netanyahu again? Will they forgive him for his role in Israel's most horrific terror attack ever? It takes far too long to give a proper answer in parties, so this is the video for them, and for you if you were curious about that. But this question might be irrelevant in just a few weeks. Curious to know why? Then you should stick to the end of this video to find out. As you're probably aware, Israel after October 7th is not the same, and it's not going to be the same. Shortly after the October 7th attack, the Israelis' public support in the government plummeted. The Likud got only 17 seats in a poll conducted at that time. That is about 14% of the public support. And in total, the government only got about 30% of support. As you would expect, people blame the government for the biggest security failure in Israel's history that led to more than 250 hostages and 1,200 dead. However, 2 years later, with successes in Lebanon that sent ripple effects throughout the Middle East, Netanyahu emerged as the Middle East strongman again. Thanks to these results, the government did manage to narrow the lead of the oppositions in opinion polls. But still, if Israelis went for elections today, the Israeli coalition right now would still be short of 9 seats to be back in power. Well, that's great, isn't it? Israelis will vote for the opposition. That's it, Netanyahu is out. Well, slow down your horses, it's not that simple. Nothing is ever that simple in Israeli politics. And why? There's a big problem in the Israeli opposition. The Israeli opposition has dramatically diverging ideologies. You have right-wing parties like Israel-Beiteinu, or the former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's new party. You have centrist parties like Yair Lapid's Yesh Atid, Benny Gantz's party, and a new party by Eisenkot called Yashar. And then you of course have the left party of Yair Golan called the Democrats. And to the very left, you have Arab parties. But even Arab parties have different ideologies, from Islamists to nationalists to communists. Yeah, it's a big mess. The thing is, without the support of Arab parties, the opposition will not have a majority. And since some right-wing parties in this opposition refuse to get the support of these Arab parties, even from outside of the government, it's hard to see how they will build a coalition and win the elections. That, of course, doesn't guarantee Netanyahu's success, but it does leave him a window to try and convince some of the parties in the oppositions to join him. So far, the biggest opposition party in the opinion polls right now is Naftali Bennett's new party. We don't really know what their policies are going to be like, but it's safe to assume it leans more to the right. The second biggest party that gets the public support is quite a surprise. It's Yair Golan's The Democrats Party, which is the only Zionist left party in the Knesset. If Golan manages to increase its support, he might be able to convince his opposition parties to be okay with the support of the Arab parties in the opposition. But it's quite difficult to see how that's going to happen, especially since Yair Golan is talking to other centrist parties and asking them to merge and be one big party, alongside Bennett's party, of course. But wait, what are the elections even about? It's surely about whether the parties support a Palestinian state or not, right? Well, not really. The 2026 election has 3 main issues, one of which are highly unfavorable for Netanyahu. As I'm filming this video, Netanyahu struggles finding a compromise with its ultra-Orthodox branch, those who demand an exemption from military service of their constituents. And even among the Likud party, the support is not there. Similarly to the opposition, the Israeli government is not united in their ideologies. It ranges from anti-Zionist, economically left, ultra-Orthodox parties. I wanted to make this correction that the ultra-Orthodox parties are not anti-Zionists, they are non-Zionists, which is a bit different. Just in short, non-Zionists mean they are neutral to the existence of the State of Israel. They don't personally believe that it should exist before the Messiah is coming, but they're not anti-Zionist, meaning that they are not actively trying to change it or dispose of it. That's the key correction. Thank you. Bye. To right-wing libertarian settler parties. And you have the Likud party of Netanyahu in the middle. They have, however, a very strong glue, and it's their distaste for the judicial branch of the Israeli democracy. Who they despise the most? Well, it's the Israeli Supreme Court, of course. And why is that? The Supreme Court has the power to strike down laws they deem unconstitutional. And despite the fact that Israel does not have a constitution, it has some basic laws that give the Supreme Court their power. And right-wing parties do not like it, from various reasons. Netanyahu does not like it because right now he's under corruption cases, and yeah, if he weakens the court, he might be able to get away with it. The ultra-Orthodox parties also do not like the Supreme Court, because it is this very court that forced the parliament to find a solution for the military service of the ultra-Orthodox population. And thirdly, obviously, the settlers do not like the Supreme Court because it does have the power to deem certain settlements illegal. So where does the Israeli population stand? Well, in recent polls about these very issues, there is little support for the judicial reform that the government was trying to pass, as well as for the draft bill for the ultra-Orthodox population. So Israelis are not really with the government's main policies right now. And there's of course the third and maybe most important issue right now that is related to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and it's the Israeli public security concerns. According to a recent poll conducted asking Israelis what are the most important questions for these elections, the first answer they gave is Israeli security and defense policies. But what does it actually mean? Nobody really challenges Netanyahu's security policies yet. The only very strong demand that the opposition's parties have is to conduct a commission of inquiry that will investigate what led to the security failures of October 7th, something that Netanyahu to this day refuses to have. Another issue relating to it is Netanyahu's biggest rival, Naftali Bennett, did not come out with any kind of policies. And who knows, he could technically build a coalition with the Likud. I mean, it seems very unlikely right now, but his right-wing approach matches the ideology of that party. But there is a twist. Earlier this week, Benjamin Netanyahu sent a letter to the Israeli president Yitzhak Herzog requesting him to pardon him from his corruption charges. And the president said he will consider it. Could that mean that Netanyahu will leave the political stage? Because if so, it will be much easier for Naftali Bennett to build a coalition with the Likud party without Netanyahu. But that also seems quite unlikely. Some people argue that it was simply another media stunt made by Netanyahu, because he wants to distract people from the very unpopular ultra-Orthodox draft bill. Israeli politics is crazy, and with about a year until the elections, everything can happen. One thing is clear though, and it's something that doesn't show up in polls. But if you talk with Israelis, you would hear them often complaining about the horrible members of parliament and how they're tired of the political elite. They're tired of the polarization. They're tired of war. They're tired of their cost of living. They want new blood. They want young representatives, people that come from the civil society organizations, people that actually showed up nearly hours after October 7th and did the job that the government should have done in the beginning. For better or for worse, Israel is not going to be the same after the 2026 elections. While editing this video, I realized I didn't really officially answer the question, will Netanyahu leave the political stage? Will Israelis say bye-bye to Netanyahu? Well, I think, or I hope that you understand from the video that the answer is inconclusive as of now. Let's see what happens.